All right, this video is how to create a proportional drawing using the grid drawing method. My class is using hands for this project. So we photographed hands and printed them off in a 5x7. I already have pre-made grids. These are 4.5 by 6. The reason I did them this way is because I knew I wanted to do a 1/2 inch grid over this. And the paper that we're going to use is 9 by 12 inches. So as long as you have the same number of boxes from your grid to your paper, let me get my paper over here, then it should work out. So this is a 9 by 12 inch piece of paper, so that's 9 inches across and then 12 down. So anyway, so I made sure that my grid was the same way. You can display your hand any way you want, but when we go to draw it, we are going to draw it with the 9 across the top, the 12 across the side. So once you get your hand image in there, I want you to position it under the grid where we don't see a line, like where the hand is chopped off. So just make sure that that edge is covered, and then any way you want to do this is completely up to you. When you have it in the place that you want it, flip that hand over and put 2 pieces of tape on the back on opposite ends so that it'll hold it down. You don't need to go in and like tape up the entire edge. These are homemade grids, so be nice to them. This would also work at home though with any image. If you just wanted to take an image, even like an image from a magazine, and draw a 1/2 inch grid going over it, then just make sure on your paper you have the same number of boxes and you can easily do a grid drawing with anything. So like I said, mine's going to be taped in here. How to draw your grid out to make sure that you have perfect boxes and that they're not like diagonal. You have to start with a blank sheet of paper and a ruler. What you're going to do with that ruler, I'm going to start the wide way. So if you guys would do that as well. And then you're going to take that ruler, line it up near the top. It doesn't need to be like right at the top, just somewhere near it. Make sure you have your 0 marker lined up with the edge of the page. This ruler, it does not start at the end. It starts at that very first black line. So I'm going to line that up with the edge of the page. And I'm going to make a tiny notch, which is just basically a little baby vertical line above every inch marker. And of course, the inches are the ones, the big numbers with the numbers right next to them. Hope we're all on the same page there. So I'm making a mark at every inch at the top. And by the way, you guys can do this very light. I'm trying to do these kind of dark so you can see what I'm doing. Then I'm going to slide my ruler down more towards the bottom. It doesn't have to be right on the bottom again, just somewhere near the bottom. Make sure that your 0 marker is lined up on the left. And again, make notches above every inch. If your ruler is not lined up, you are wasting your time. This will not work, okay? So make sure that your ruler is lined up with the edge of the page and you're making nice, neat notches. That was a lot of ends. Okay. So I've made my notches across on the top and the bottom. Then I'm going to turn my ruler vertically and I'm going to draw a line from the top to the bottom of the paper, making sure that that line hits both notches. So line your ruler up, make sure those notches are just barely on the edge of the ruler, and draw a line all the way down from top to bottom. This works best with a very sharp pencil point or mechanical pencil. Line that ruler up all the way down. All right, after you've drawn all your lines down the page, you're going to rotate your paper vertically this way. Now again, you're going to put your ruler somewhere near the top. It doesn't need to be right at the top, just somewhere near the top. Make sure your 0 markers lined up with the edge and make notches across the page. By the way, I should have told you this last time, but you don't need to make a notch at 0 and you don't need to make a notch at this end of the paper. Just, you know, we'll know that the end of the paper is the end of that box. So see, I wouldn't need to make one at 9. I'm just going to know it's the edge of the paper. Slide your ruler down somewhere near the bottom. Doesn't need to be right at the bottom. Make sure your 0 marker is lined up. Make a notch above every inch. Remember, if your 0 marker is not lined up with the edge of the paper, you are wasting your time and you're going to end up doing a lot of erasing. There's only one other side of this paper, so really, if you make a mistake, you only get one chance to use the back. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing we did last time. Turn your ruler vertically, connect with the top and bottom notch. Can you guys see both notches? Yeah. And then just make sure that your ruler's right on the edge of both notches and go all the way from top to bottom of the paper. Line up, make sure the notches are just on the edge of the ruler, all the way from top to bottom. Nice, neat boxes. I finished drawing my boxes. Now the last step is that along the top, you are going to number 1 through 9. So I'm just going to put a little baby number in there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then down the side, I'm going to number through to 12, okay? You don't need to do 2 number 1s, but you do have 2 number 2s, and you kind of branch out from there. There's only 1 number 1 in the corner, okay? then number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now's the time, if you don't have 9 across and 12 down, that you've probably made a mistake and something needs to be fixed. But this is the way that your paper needs to be numbered. At this point, what you would do is you would start drawing your hand. Of course, you'd want your name on these papers. I don't know if I mentioned putting a name on here, but do that on the back, okay? All right. So let's say I'm ready to get started. I don't have anything going on in the first row. So this first row with numbers, I won't draw anything in there. Come row 2 though, box 2, actually even in the first box, I see a little bit of the finger start. So I'm gonna do just like I'm reading a book. You can't read a book if you start skipping over words, right? So I'm gonna start drawing in that finger. It goes a little bit above halfway, kind of like this. I'm just gonna draw it in lightly to start, and then once I know it's in the right place later, I can darken it up later. Also, we are gonna trace these in Sharpie in our class, so that could happen later. All right, and kind of continue that way. I'm going to draw everything I see in row 2, and then once I'm done drawing what I see in row 2, I can move down to row 3, one box at a time. This project takes a lot of patience. Good luck.